What is your favorite TED Talk? There's so many excellent TED Talks to choose from. Perhaps it's Our Schools Killing Our Creativity by Ken Robinson. It might be Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are by Amy Cuddy. Alternatively, it could be The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown. Or maybe your style is more Why We Do What We Do by Tony Robbins. What's clear is that when you watch each of these speeches, they're all presented by very different styles of speakers. Yet each of them are popular, successful, impactful TED Talks. That suggests that there is no right way to be a speaker. If all of these different speakers, with all of their different styles, can pull off an excellent TED Talk, then that means that you, with your particular style, can pull off an excellent TED Talk. Today we're going to be talking about speaking styles and helping you to unlock and embrace your signature style as a speaker. As we're coming on live here today, we're going to have lots of questions, lots of interactions, and even if you aren't watching this live, if you're watching this in the future on the replay, then please do participate in the questions and queries as well. You can still get that interactive benefit even if you're not here with us in the present. One of the key things that I see beginner speakers make a mistake in is trying to shoehorn themselves in to another person's version of speaking. Can you imagine if the loud, big, larger-than-life Tony Robbins tries to present like the academic Harvard psychologist, Amy Cuddy? Can you imagine the introverted, introspective Amy Cuddy who likes to spend time in a lab looking at data and spreadsheets, telling the entertaining stories and laughing and joking the way that Ken Robinson does in his TED Talk? It wouldn't fit them, would it? These speakers were successful, not because they tried to do things someone else's way, but because they did things their way. They knew what their strengths as a speaker were, and they doubled down, and that allowed them to get the impact and projection that they did. There's two things I see a big cause. These aren't the only two culprits. when you hear these two culprits, don't go, oh, David's pinning all the blame in the speaking industry on these two culprits. I'm not saying that these are the only two, but there's two very prominent culprits that I come across in the speaking industry that cause beginner speakers to shoehorn themselves into doing things outside of their particular style, doing things in a way that isn't authentic and genuine to them. And I've got to say that one of the culprits I've actually mentioned already. It's Tony Robbins. And I'm not saying that Tony Robbins does this deliberately at all, but what I see is so many people who try to emulate Tony Robbins' way of doing things. The amount of motivational seminars I've sat in where people are like, come on everyone, get up, clap those hands, dance to the music, let's shout those affirmations, yes I'm amazing, yes I'm wonderful. And I think, oh God, this person's clearly been to a Tony Robbins event and is just trying to present like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins knows what works for him, and in his events with tens of thousands of people, having that energy, having that constant activity, having that movement is essential to what he does and the way he does it. That will work in an arena of tens of thousands of people. When you try and do that in the boardroom of 20 people, it doesn't come off the same way. And I see so many people who are saying, I'm going to be the next Tony Robbins. I'm going to be the Asian Tony Robbins. I'm going to be the female Tony Robbins. I'm going to be the teenage Tony Robbins. And I think this is a real shame. The world already has Tony Robbins. We don't need another one. We don't need a knockoff version of one, certainly. We need the version of you Don't try and be the next Tony Robbins. Try and be the new you. Let me say that again for you. Don't try and be the next Tony Robbins. Try and be the new you. And that's where you're going to find yourself as a speaker. And I see this a lot in the speaking industry of, it seems that every time there's an Unleash the Power Within or a Date with Destiny, all of these Tony Robbins carbon copies just come out of the woodwork. And there's these Facebook Lives everywhere. I'm just going, no. Now, absolutely, some of you will want to learn and adopt aspects of what Tony Robbins does. That high energy, high tempo style would really suit you, but it doesn't suit everyone. And it certainly doesn't suit the majority of speakers. So that's one culprit that I feel really kind of misleads beginner speakers. And as I say, it's not intentional, it's just the way things happen. The other culprit is actually something I've got an affiliation with. It's Toastmasters International. Toastmasters is the largest public speaking organization in the world. I've been a member for 2016, 5.5 years now. I can tell you how good Toastmasters is. I wouldn't continue to be part of the organization if it wasn't good. It certainly helped me develop so much as a speaker. But being in the organization also makes me aware of the flaws and the weaknesses it has. And one of the big culprits of this weakness, that wasn't even a real sentence. I wanted to say two different things there and they both just merged together. Need some more work at Toastmasters, clearly. I would say that one of the key flaws of Toastmasters is that it doesn't allow people to speak in their own style. Toastmasters has this very clear model and avatar of what they expect a speaker to be. And if you're a member of Toastmasters, or if you've ever been to a Toastmasters meeting, you know that the meetings are very structured and regimented. We have the timings down to the precise minutes. This thing takes 3 minutes. This thing takes 7 minutes. And that structure and uniformity is what makes the organization a success. But it then trickles into, this is how speakers should be. Speakers should be structured, and they should be polished, they should be well rehearsed, and they should have this corporate formal style of speaking. And again, works great for some people, doesn't work for everyone. I know certainly for me, that's not the way that I speak. And it's not the way that a lot of people speak. So again, I see beginner speakers come to Toastmasters because that's what people tell you to do. They say, are you scared of public speaking? You want to get better at public speaking? You should go to Toastmasters. So often the first touch point or the first model that beginner speakers have of how they should be a speaker is either they go to a big Tony Robbins event and they go, wow, I need to be like this big, larger than life, shouting affirmations, jumping and dancing. Or they go to a Toastmasters meeting and they have to present in this very formal, polished, structured manner. Two styles that may work for some people, but not for other people. What we're going to cover in our live session today is we're going to look at what the different styles of speaking are. And it's all about not shoehorning yourself into one particular style because somebody says that's the best style. I'm going to tell you right now, none of these styles are the best styles. It's all about finding your style, embracing it, tweaking it, playing with it, and then that will be the most successful style for you because it will be yours. It will feel natural to you. A lot of people, when they're going up there and they're shouting these affirmations and clapping, they know that doesn't feel natural, but they feel they have to do it. Or presenting in this formal, polished manner, they know it doesn't feel natural, but they think they have to do it because somebody's told them that's the way you should speak. I'll tell you right now, in this live, I'm not going to tell you this is the way to speak. All I'm going to do is present the options to you, and as the Oracle says in the Matrix is trending just now, as the Oracle says in the Matrix, you'll just have to make up your own damn mind. So let's launch into this. The 4 speaking styles can be represented by playing cards. And in particular, the 4 face cards that you get in a deck. King, Queen, Jack, Joker. Each of these face cards is a representation of the different speaking styles that you can adopt and embrace as a speaker. So let's go through this one by one. First of all, we have the King. Oh, my halo light's really doing a number on these. There we go. The King. If we go back to our TED examples from earlier, and for the couple of eyeballs who are joining in live, our TED examples from earlier were the TED speakers Ken Robinson, Amy Cuddy, Brene Brown, Tony Robbins. The King is best represented by Amy Cuddy. The King has this measured, precise way of speaking. They use lots of pauses. They have lots of rational, logical content and arguments laid out. They invite their audience to think and reflect as they speak. And that's really the power and purpose of the King. If you think of some of the tags that get applied to speakers, the tag inspirational speaker most closely applies to the King. Kings get their audiences to think differently. And sometimes the only way that we can emerge from a struggle or solve a problem is to think differently. And that was the slogan of Apple, wasn't it? It was think different. Kings, therefore, are really good at sparking this creativity and this reflection. And that's something that Amy Cuddy does as a Harvard psychologist. So she uses a lot of academia, she uses a lot of studies, she uses a lot of data. If you want some more examples of the types of figures who are King speakers, if we're looking at a historical example, that would be someone like Nelson Mandela, getting people to think differently. And a more contemporary example would be someone who also has another very successful TED Talk, probably the contemporary speaker that I admire the most, and I would say I'm probably, maybe not the most similar to, but pretty similar to in style, is Simon Sinek. So Amy Cuddy, Simon Sinek, Nelson Mandela, all excellent examples of the King archetype of speaking. What do you think about that style? Is that a style that resonates with you? Do you like to speak in a measured, precise manner, using lots of those pauses, getting the audience to think and reflect? Drop it in the comments below. If you think that you are a King style speaker, put King in the comments. Let's move on now to our second style of speaking. We have the Queen of Hearts. Queen of Hearts. And the Queen of Hearts, if we're looking back to our TED examples, Queen of Hearts, Brene Brown. The Queen speaker has a warm and comforting voice. They have lots of inviting gestures. They ask their audience a lot of questions. They really want to get to know their audience. And it's this approach that makes the audience feel that they're seen, heard, and understood. The Queen speaker is all about connection. They're fantastic at developing rapport with their audience. When you listen to a speech and you feel that the speaker is describing your life, that they know you better than you know yourself, they're talking about struggles and you go, they're my struggles. And they talk about aspirations and you say, they're my aspirations. You're probably on the receiving end of the Queen style speaker. Huge amount of empathy, huge amount of understanding. Brene Brown, great example of the Queen speaker. If we're to look at some other examples, historically, this would be someone like Mahatma Gandhi. If we're going into a modern example, I would say Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister. Brene Brown, Mahatma Gandhi, Jacinda Ardern, all fantastic Queen-style speakers. How does that card reflect, literally? Would you say that you're a Queen-style speaker? Speaking in that warm, comforting manner, inviting your audience in, asking them questions, getting to know them, making them feel comfortable in your presence. If you think that you're a Queen-style speaker, pop Queen in the comments below. Just Queen, one word. So there we go, 2 from 2. Let's now look at our third style of speaker. And this is the Jack. The Jack. If we go back to our earlier TED examples, the Jack, Tony Robbins. The Jack speaks in a powerful, authoritative voice. They have big, large gestures, firm gestures. They command their audience to do things. If you think of the tags of motivational speakers, the motivational speaker, it's the Jack. Tony Robbins, probably the inventor of motivational speakers, right? And that's what motivational speakers do, and that's what Jack speakers do, is they get people to take action on something. They don't want them to be philosophizing and thinking like the King speaker. They don't want people to feel warm and fuzzy like the Queen speaker. Sometimes things need to be done. And you need to hit people's motivators and primers to get them to do what needs to be done. If we look at some more examples of speakers, a historical example, Margaret Thatcher, a Jack speaker. A more contemporary example, Greta Thunberg, a Jack speaker. These speakers, Tony Robbins, Margaret Thatcher, Greta Thunberg, they're trying to get people to do something, and they speak in a way that generates that energy, generates that motivation, so they'll go and actually do the thing. And that's the power that Jack speakers have, getting their audience to take an action. What do you think about that style? Does that style fit you? Does that seem most like the way that you speak? If it does, pop Jack in the comments below. Jack in the comments. One more card left. There is always the Joker in the pack. And the Joker in the pack this evening is Rachel. Finally found you. So here we go. The Joker style, the fourth style. And going back to our earlier TED examples, Joker, Ken Robinson. The Joker has an upbeat, cheerful way of speaking. They have lots of emotion that comes through their facial expression. They tell jokes. They have entertaining stories. What the Joker does is uplifts and energizes people. When they're listening to the Joker makes them feel good. The Joker makes them feel happy. Classic example, stand-up comedians. Stand-up comedians are obviously the Joker style of speaking. Ken Robinson is one example. If we want to go to some different examples, historically, we're looking at someone like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was the Joker style speaker. If we're looking for a more contemporary example, then the Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson. He's a bit of a joker. That's what the Joker style speaker does, is it entertains people, makes people feel good. What do you think about the Joker? Is that your style of speaking? Does that seem most right to you out of the examples that we've covered? If so, comment Joker in the comments below. Comment Joker. And if you haven't commented yet, because as you heard the styles one by one, you're thinking, yeah, maybe a little bit, possibly, maybe a bit of that, maybe a bit of that. What I want to remind you is that speakers have a little bit of all four styles. Effective speakers need to be able to do all four things to a certain extent. I know that when I first started out as a speaker, I really settled into the king. I really settled into the king of that measured, thoughtful, reflective way of speaking, using lots of pauses, getting the audience to think. And that worked for years for me as a speaker. But in the last couple of years, really since I've started Raise, to be honest, I've actually been leaning a lot more into the joker. And I actually feel that the king was a little bit of me and a little bit of what I thought I should be. So it's not that the king was inauthentic. There's certain king aspects within me and within my speaking. I would say I probably feel more comfortable and I have a lot more fun in the joker style. But that means that I've got two speaking styles in my speaking toolbox. Joker's great, it's really good, but sometimes there's certain subjects that you shouldn't be using the joker for. Sometimes you need to get serious. Sometimes you need to be challenging. And that's when I can step into the king a little bit more. And it's not that I neglect the other styles either. There'll be times where I need to connect with my audience and develop a relationship with them. That's when a little bit of that queen comes in. There'll be times where I want the audience to take action and do things. I want you to go and actually do public speaking. I don't want you to just listen to me all the time. Go and do some public speaking. That's where the jack comes in. So absolutely, these styles are all going to come into your speaking a little bit. But the most important thing to do first is figure out what is your main style, what's your signature style. So I'll run through them again for the benefit of people who've joined live and haven't seen all four. So first up we've got the king. The king is that thoughtful, measured, reflective style of speaking. Then we've got the queen. The queen is that warm, inviting, empathetic, connecting way of speaking. And then we've got the jack. The jack is that powerful, strong, commanding, action-based, motivating style of speaking. And then we've got the joker at the end. Cheerful, upbeat, fun, entertaining storyteller. Which one of those styles do you think suits you? And if you haven't already, pop it in the comments below. King, queen, jack, joker. Forget what cards are in a deck there. So Rachel is saying that could be mine. I don't know what you're... I think you're probably referring to the king could be mine, Rachel, joker occasionally. I would say that's fair from your time in the Superhero Speaker program. I would say that you've got that thoughtful, measured way of speaking. That's definitely emblematic of the king. And then you've got that little storytelling side of you, that little kind of dry wit, humorous side of you. That's the joker coming through. So yeah, I would put you as a king with a flavor of joker, I would say, Rachel, if I was to diagnose you with a speaking style. So here's the thing now that you know the speaking styles. What you want to do is start to embrace the style that feels most comfortable for you. So whatever word that you put in, whichever card that you put into the comments, start speaking that way. Don't keep on doing your Facebook Lives in that rah-rah motivational Tony Robbins style. If you've said that actually I feel more comfortable speaking in the Queen style, start using that Queen style more. It'll feel more comfortable for you. You'll be able to express yourself better. And actually your audience will respond more favorably to it. You can really tell when someone is showing up and they're trying to be something that they're not. As I said, how many times have I sat through someone trying to be a Tony Robbins rah-rah, and I can just see that they don't have it. That's not their style of speaking. It's not who they are and how they express themselves. And it grates. Have you been in that kind of speech? Have you been watching someone and you can just tell that they're not doing things the way that they want to, they're doing things the way that they think they should? It's just not a good way of managing things at all. So start playing around with these different styles. Go into what feels most comfortable for you. And when you're comfortable, then you can start bringing in a little bit of those other styles. Then you can start experimenting and playing around a little bit. As I said, for 4 years as a speaker, I basically just sat in the King style. King style worked for me. It was something that allowed me to get my message out there. It was something that allowed me to tell my story. It's where I built my foundations and built my success as a speaker. King style absolutely worked for me. But over the last couple of years, I've realized that I needed to bring a lot more Joker into that. And being the Joker style of speaking is something that's bringing me a lot of joy, and I'm having fun speaking. I'm enjoying speaking, and I hope that comes across in all of the Facebook Lives that I do, that I'm enjoying myself, because it's not because the Joker is the fun style. Should probably make that clear. Just because the Joker is the fun style, if you're trying to be the Joker and that's not you, it's really not fun. If we think of a contemporary example, have you ever been in a group of friends, or maybe had some colleagues, and there's that person who tries to be the life and the soul of the party, and they're always cracking jokes, but the jokes never really land, and at worst they just sound a bit out of touch, and at best they sound a bit out of touch, and at worst they're a little bit offensive at times, because they're trying to be the funny person, but they're not reading the room, they're not reading the situation, they're trying harder and harder to be the funny person, and it just doesn't work. That's not much fun. Rachel is asking, is this covered somewhere in your book? Really good question, Rachel. Let me go and show you. So Rachel is not a stooge at all. She's doing a little bit of free promotion for me. Thank you, Rachel. There we go. Here we go. So the Rise Inspire book, the text will be the wrong way around at the moment, and after my fiasco in the Thrive on Live challenge, trying to flip the text the right way around, let me just see if this will work really quickly. If it doesn't work in 10 seconds, I'm not going to do it. No, it's not working. That's fine. So text is the wrong way around. Can't flip it the right way around. Rise Inspire book. In fact, I'll tell you the page, Rachel. Page 54. Oh, might be slightly different because this was my author's copy, and I made a couple changes to the formatting and content. So it might not be quite page 54. That might be a page or two out from where the final version is. But there, literally, find your style. It talks about the 4 speaker styles, and there's even, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that very well, there's a little quiz that you can do. This is a completely unscientific quiz. I have 0 data to validate it, but it's just a bit of fun. And actually, my answers came out quite close to where I am as a speaker. So you can do this 10-question quiz, and it will give you a fun little answer suggesting what style that you might be. But at the same time, it's not very scientific, so you could be a completely different style. So yes, Rachel is covered in the book. Thank you for my free marketing. So as Rachel has very kindly pointed to, you can find out a little bit more about the speaking styles in my Rise and Inspire book. You can also get some help embracing your speaking style in our Superhero Speaker Program. Rachel actually is one of our alumni from this time last year. Actually, Rachel joined our program, and for 4 months she went through our various speaking skills, workshops, opportunities, evaluations that we do in the program. And that's why I could tell roughly what Rachel's speaking style is at the moment. King with a little bit of Jack coming in there as well. That's one of the key principles that we do in the Superhero Speaker Program. It's really helping you to find your style as a speaker. I'm not going to tell you how you should be as a speaker. All I'm pointing to are 4 different guides, 4 different avatars of what you might look like as a speaker. And certainly for another one of our superhero speakers, Jen, Rachel, you'll remember Jen very well. And remember as if she's dead. She's still with us. You'll know Jen very well. When Jen first came into our first ever program that we ran, she had to do a lot of those work style presentations and had to do them in that corporate formal way of these are the things that you have to cover, and you've got to cover them in this way and hit these KPIs and all of that kind of corporate lingo. I don't even know if KPIs was the right terminology to use there. I've never worked corporate. I've never wanted to work corporate for a lot of these reasons. And Jen she didn't feel like it was her. She always felt uncomfortable speaking in that way. And so she came into the Superhero Speaker program to try and find a better way. And I said to her, look, Jen, for your first program, at the time it was a 3-month program, now it's a 4-month program. I said, all we're going to do for the next 3 months, I want you to just show up unplanned, no script, and speak. And so once a month, that's what she did. Inspire Week is linked in with our Superhero Speaker program. So you do an Inspire Week speech here in Rise and Inspire Speakers, and you get an evaluation afterwards. Rachel will tell you how fun those evaluations are, or how horrible. There's a definite love-hate relationship with those evaluations. But what we did is I told Jen to show up and speak how she felt like speaking. And after 3 months, she was starting to unlock and express who she really was as a speaker. Jen is, and I say this as a compliment, Jen's a massive nerd. She's a huge Star Wars fan. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm allowed to say that. She's nerdy, she's adventurous, she's creative, she's playful, and that's how she needed to speak. And even in those first couple of months, she was starting to play with things like where she was on the camera. She was bringing props onto the screen. She was taking us for a walk around where she was. She even had costumes that she started changing in and out of. And that was the speaker that I knew Jen really was. Because Jen, she isn't some kind of formal, stiff corporate king. She's not some in-your-face, rah-rah, motivational, commanding kind of speaker. Jen's a joker, just like me. Now, Jen is a different type of joker to the way that I speak. She's a lot more creative and colourful and playful. You don't see me getting out of costumes in and out all of the time when I'm speaking. But that's what works for Jen. That's where she feels that she's expressing herself. That's where she feels that she's comfortable. And I'll tell you what, her quality of speaking is so much better because she speaks like that. She's seen a massive uptake. She did 4 consecutive programs, 16 months. She's joining us again this year for her 5th program, and every single time that she joins, I just see more of that creativity and spontaneity come out. And so after those initial months, I was able to say to Jen, look, it's quite clear that you're a joker. What we're going to do now is we're going to start to double down into being the joker and start to work on, well, now that we know that that's your style, what are some of the key skills and attributes of what makes a joker successful? And then, now that she's really comfortable with being the joker, and Jen doesn't know this yet, but this is coming up in the next program, what I'm going to challenge her to do is start to bring in some other styles. I think Jen is also quite a natural. She's also got a lot of queen qualities in her. For anyone who's met Jen in the Facebook group, if you've been to the Raise socials, if you've seen her speak and Inspire, even if you just chat for her in the comments, if you've seen Jen Walter in the comments, you'll see it a lot because she's just such a warm, pleasant, gentle person. She's got that empathy and that understanding. She's been super supportive and kind to the other superhero speakers that we've had in the program. Rachel, I think for yourself, she's been kind and supportive, and she sent you a few messages, and she invites people to virtual coffees and things. She's just a wonderful, warm soul. And that's why I think that we can start to bring in a lot of that queen style into our speaking over the next 4 months. So Jen, sorry to spring that on you on a live, but that's what we're going to do. For the first program, I just gave Jen the freedom to be herself. And then once we saw what being herself looked like, then we start to layer on the speaking techniques and the speaking skills that help you develop that style of speaking. Rachel, we did the same thing with you. Once I could see that you had that king style, it was like, okay, what do we need to do to be an effective king? Bringing in some of those pauses, asking thoughtful questions, using stories that help to illustrate a point and get people thinking. And that's the type of work that we do in the Superhero Program. And Rachel's asking, did her basement get finished? Yes, it did. Her November Inspire Week, I think she did a speech from the finished basement. So you can go back and have a look at that, Rachel. Yeah, that was an ongoing saga in the Superhero Speaker Program. I think for all 4 months she was in, I think her basement broke in the first program, and it was only after her 4th program that that actually got fixed. So yes, it's all fixed now, Rachel. So if that's the type of work that you'd like to do, if you'd like to discover your style and have that freedom and expressiveness that Jen's been able to find, then we can help you do that in the Superhero Speaker Program. To join the program, you first got to apply. So applications are open right now. They're going to close on Tuesday at midnight. So that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So you've still got 72 hours to get that application done. So it's a little bit of time, but not a lot of time. And we only open the applications 3 times a year. So if you want to get in at the start of the year, if 2022 is where you want to accept and embrace yourself as a speaker, if you want to start feeling comfortable, if you want to start feeling authentic, if you want to start feeling genuine, if you want to, dare I say it, start having fun when you're speaking. And yes, speaking really can be fun. And you know why it can be fun? Because you're being yourself. What's not fun is not being yourself. And that's what we can help you to do. And that's how we can help guide you in the Superhero Speaker Program. I'm going to pop the link to the application in the comments below. So scroll down those comments. I'll try and pin it so that it gets to the top of the comments. Click the application. The application will take about 30 to 40 minutes, so set aside a little bit of time to do it. There's questions that are quite open-ended. I encourage you to be as open and expressive in your answers as possible. The more detailed your answers, the more chance your application has of being picked. Click the link to apply. There's also an informational video that I posted a couple of days ago. So if you want to find out more information about the program, I can tag you in that video. So if you want to find out a little bit more about the Superhero Speaker Program, put a comment in the comments below, send me a message on Facebook, just click my name, send me a message. I can link you to that informational video. I'll put the link to the application as well. And you can join us for the next 4 months, and we can help you to find what your speaking style is. You might have some inklings from today's presentation. You might be leaning one way or the other, but when we give you the freedom and the space to explore, we'll clarify exactly what that style is for you, and we'll start helping you work on being the best king, being the best Jack that you can be. Going back to our TED speakers, none of those speakers is better than the others. Ken Robinson, the Joker, Our School's Killing Our Creativity, fantastic speech. Tony Robbins, Why We Do What We Do, fantastic speech. Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability, fantastic speech. And Amy Cuddy, Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are, fantastic speech. Thank you everyone who's joined live today. Rachel, it's been great chatting with you in the comments. Apologies if other people have been commenting and I haven't seen. Facebook Live is quite buggy with the comments at the moment. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen all of your comments either actually, Rachel, so sorry if I haven't been replying to everything. Let me know in the comments what one of those 4 styles you think you are. If you want to find out more information about the Superhero Speaker Program, if you want to apply, all the information again is going to be in the link below. Embrace your style as a speaker. Nobody can tell you how to speak, least of all, me.